Good evening and welcome to the Thursday, July 28, 2016 regular session of the Xenia City Council. We've been in session tonight since 5:30 talking about executive session matters and then a special session just a few minutes ago. And we're ready to begin now. We apologize for the slightly late start as we had much to discuss in the previous two sessions. We will open this evening with a moment of silence. And then we will have the Pledge of Allegiance led by the mayor, please. So if you would rise with me for the moment of silence. And I would ask everyone, obviously, hold in your thoughts what you need to, but certainly we have a world that is unsettled. We have people fighting and dying. We have people just struggling with their neighbors. I would ask that we hold a moment of silence for peace and unity at this time. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. May I have roll call, please?
Vice President Smith?
Here.
Councilman Wallace?
Here.
Councilman Louderback?
Here.
Councilwoman Mays?
Here.
Councilwoman Mills?
Here.
Mayor Bayless?
Here.
President Engel?
Here. Thank you. May I have a motion, please, for approval of minutes for our July 14th, 2016 special and regular session, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Mills. Second, please. Second by the Vice President. Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith?
Aye.
Councilman Wallace?
Abstain.
Councilman Louderback?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills?
Aye.
Mayor Bayless?
Aye.
President Engel?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. At this time, we have an opportunity for audience comments. If anyone would like to address the Xenia City Council this evening, please feel free to do so. Step to the podium, provide us your name and address. Limit your comments 4 to 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, Mr. President, Madam Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the Xenia City Council, ladies and gentlemen of the City of Xenia. My name is Thomas Scrivens. I reside still, thank God in heaven, at 725 Lexington Avenue here in the City of Xenia. Mr. President, I rise from my seat this evening to bring to the attention of the Council just a few items, and if you will indulge me, I'll tick through them. First thing, we have the Zika virus, as you well know, mosquito transferred disease, similar to other mosquito-borne diseases. Mosquitoes breed in stagnant water, and we have a persistent stagnant water problem at the corner of Orchard Street and Clark Street here in Xenia. One of the reasons why is because Clark Street between Park and Orchard is basically a tobacco road. It's not paved. It only has one house there. But when there's a rain event, the water flows downhill and it washes down various aggregates, and that tends to block up the water flow down to the storm drain, which is all the way down at the end of the block, which is downhill, but it never makes it there. So this water tends to pond. Complicating that situation is a mulberry tree, and it has the mulberry droppings. So now we got good, yucky black water, which the birds like, but I'm afraid that needs intervention. So if you could make sure that we at least have a person or persons to come out and see what we can do about that problem, short of paving Clark Street and making that dam disappear. That is part of a problem that I see existing around the city. As you know, my background is in sanitation here in the city, and what happens is a lot of people cut their grass and they throw it right in the street and they leave it. Well, granted, this is not Kettering, this is not Oakwood, this is not Upper Arlington, this is Xenia. This is where we live, and we should have a lot more respect for where we live than that. That should be codified within the nuisance code to be against the code. Okay, I mean, if I throw it in the street, I'll take my mower and I'll blow it back. I like my curbs clean, and that's another problem. Who does the sidewalks and the curbs belong to? Do they belong to the homeowner? Are they supposed to maintain them? Keep the grass and the weeds out of the curbs and the cracks? Or is it the city's problem? Okay, I know there's a right-of-way there where the utilities go, but someone has to take and grab this thing by the horn. Just right here in downtown Xenia, when you turn off North Detroit on East Church Street, Green Met maintains the property, the Episcopal Church maintains the property, and I know I got 12-inch weeds coming out of the cracks. And it's just utterly repugnant. And we should take action for that. Having heard that, we take that and apply it to every street, sidewalk, curb in the city, and Xenia would look a lot better. I want to thank the city manager and the public service department for restriping some of the roads. At least some of the roads look better. Now, if we can just do the curbs where we have yellow and yellow those up, make the place look a little better. I like to entertain people, but, you know, when you entertain people and the place looks like I think we can do a lot better. So if we can, I'd like to see us exercise a little due diligence and get this place cleaned up a little bit. So you can at least say, yeah, this is where I live and I'm proud to live here. Secondly, sir, call your attention to, I don't know if most of the council people know, we kept it pretty quiet. It wasn't ever in the press. It was a drive-by up at Chubby's there in the East End not too long ago. And as a result, the owner of the establishment, which is the only watering hole in a residential area, which is, that's the topic of another discussion. We'd like to see that gone. It's a clear and a present danger to the community and maintains a persistent nuisance. But they've installed lights, of course. I guess their insurance company wanted them to do that. But the place looks like Times Square. Now, Speedway out here on North Detroit at Ankeny Mill in the evening, they lower their light level because they got residents living around there. We'd like to see that light level lowered in the evening. Place looks like Times Square in the evening. And just need to intervene here and make that. I mean, if you lived in next door, down the street from that, I don't think you'd appreciate that either. So drive by, take a look at it, see how you feel. If you sleep with that good at night, keep on sleeping. Also, sir, like to address the EEO report that I receive every year from the city and from the county. And we fall woefully inadequate yearly. I've been monitoring this thing since 1989. We made absolutely a flat line since 1989. Now, if you can sleep with that, I can too. But we have 12 to 13% minorities, not only in the city, but in the county. And that's not reflected in any of the agencies of the county or the city where we have employment that matches the population. You know where I'm coming from on this, and I'd like to see some action. Now, my good friend and colleague, Councilman Lauterbach, knows that we want to hire the best people. But when we can hire minorities, I like to see some minorities. I'm glad that we have a minority on board now in the city. I think he's doing a bang-up job. It was a good selection by the city manager, and I compliment him on his excellent choice. But there's a lot of ground that needs to be made up here, and we need to make it up in short order. To keep this problem festering is another clear and present danger to the peace of the community. And then one other thing. I don't know if the Tax Incentive Review Board has been peopled yet, but I had indicated interest for that. It was never followed up on, and that's a shortfall that I place in the hands of the city manager. Things happen, and I understand. And then finally, this evening at the Democratic National Convention, one of Mayor Bayless's college classmates, one of my cohorts, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, she'll be delivering an address nationally. She's originally from Dayton, Ohio, and she's a regular person just like each one of us. If either of you were going to address a national audience, I'd want to see you on television also. I don't know what her order of presentation is tonight, but Senator Sherrod Brown's also to address that group. So I won't be long here, so I want to get back home so I won't miss my friend and classmate addressing the national audience regarding the political situation. And finally, Mr. President, I have a friend who finished the Wharton School of Economics and Finance there at the University of Pennsylvania, along with Mr. Trump and Mr. Trump's daughter. And he says he's getting a lot of flack because he's for Mr. Trump. I said, I don't care who you for. I don't care what your politics is. I said, if you're black, brown, white, red, or yellow, Republican, Democrat, Communist, Independent, Libertarian, it's all right with Thomas Scrivens because I believe in America. And just wanted to let you know that, like, I voted for each one of you guys, and I think you're doing a bang-up job, each one. It's hard to sit in these chairs and make decisions and then take the flack. So sometimes I'll pat you on the back if I'm voting with you. If I'm voting against you, you know I'm voting against you. But afterwards, we go out and we'll have a cold one. So, but Mr. President, I thank you for your time and your indulgence. I thank you, Council, and I hope that your deliberations this evening will come to a conclusion where we can all move forward together, keeping Xenia clean. We had a phrase back when I was a kid called "keep green clean," and I think the county kind of co-opted it, but it's okay. As long as we keep it clean, I'm happy. Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate your time, and God bless all of you guys.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else care to come and address the Xenia City Council this evening, please? Seeing none, we will move on to reports of committees. Our sole reporter this evening, Councilman Louderback, please, for MVRPC.
Thank you, Mr. President. The July meeting was canceled, and the August meeting will be canceled also.
In the spirit of keeping things moving along, as we're just requested.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anything for Councilman Louderback and MVRPC, please? Seeing none, items from City Council and Mayor. Anything from my colleagues to bring before the group for the betterment of the order?
Mr. President, we do have one acknowledgement, I think, between you or the mayor that we'd like to make with regard to a project that the city received an award on.
Please proceed.
So, Madam Mayor, if you'd like to join Mr. Brodsky at the podium. You're not getting an award, so don't get excited.
As I think Council is well aware, over the last several months, we've had a lot of discussion about a new business downtown, One Bistro at 87 East Main Street. A businessry, it's a ministry that uses food as their outreach. They make sure that no one goes hungry. They ask community support, and I will make a plea on their behalf. Please come out and frequent them. Outstanding food at a very good price, and if you can't afford to, please pay it forward. One of the volunteers that helped with that project nominated the city and One Bistro for an award. And yesterday, myself and the mayor, along with Mary Crockett, went up to Toledo. We also had representatives from One Bistro, from Towards Independence, from the contractor, from the architect there. And we won the Ohio Conference of Community Development President's Award for the Best Community Development Project. And if I can, I'd like to read the plaque. It said, "The City of Xenia is commended for their innovative project, which created a multifaceted partnership revitalizing the downtown Xenia Historic District through rehabilitating a historic retail space, establishing a community restaurant, and providing workforce development for adults with developmental disabilities. This project reflects outstanding performance in addressing significant needs in the community, multi-level collaboration, and community involvement." It's, to me, very significant. There's a lot of groups out there that will provide awards, and they'll base it on the size of your community. They'll provide some to larger cities, others to smaller. OCCD has one President's Award. So this project was up against projects that happened in Toledo, in Cleveland, in large cities that were much, much larger. But they recognized that it had a significant impact on our city, and it hit on a lot of very important things. And I think that as a community, we should be very, very proud to receive this award.
It really was a great experience just to be in the room among so many other big cities, I mean, as he named, and for us to be recognized for such an award, it's really an accomplishment. And to have a group like we did, there were about, 8 or 9 of us there? And so to be able to stand before the group and they allowed us time to talk, We were the only group allowed to talk, so, because it was such an outstanding award. So I want to congratulate everybody who was a part of this.
And I'm hoping to work with One Bistro here in the very near future so we can do a more official presentation to them, since honestly, it's their award.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from my colleagues while we're still at items from City Council and Mayor, please? Seeing none, we'll move to reports of city offices. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, several items this evening. First, staff is recommending City Council approve authorization to execute a subdividers agreement for Sterling Green Crossing Phase 1 with M1 Development LLC as part of a 56-acre parcel zoned R1C. Project Phase 1 consists of a 36 single-family home lots located northwest of Sterling Green and villages of Sterling Green subdivisions. Developer has met all conditions established within code, and preliminary plans have been reviewed and endorsed by city staff. The developer's agreement and final plat for Sterling Green Crossing Phase 1 have met the conditions required by the Planning and Zoning Commission and are therefore acceptable and ready for City Council approval. Staff recommends Council approve the final plat and authorize execution of the subdividers agreement.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, to approve the final plat and execute?
So moved, Mr. President.
Moved by Councilman Lauterbach, seconded by Councilman Wallace. Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
For the second item this evening, staff recommends City Council award the bid for rehabilitation of sewer pipelines to Insituform Technologies LLC with a base bid price of $71,531.50 and an alternate one price of $25,056, and authorize execution of a contract with a total bid price in an amount not to exceed $96,587.50. City Council has established has established rehabilitation of aged water and sewer infrastructure to be a priority in our capital development efforts. Award of this bid will provide direction to staff to continue with these efforts in our sewer system through slip lining techniques to reinforce deteriorating sewer transmission lines. Insituform has been contracted by the city on previous occasions, and staff has been pleased with the services they have performed. Staff recommends the award.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, to award the bid?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Mills. Second, please.
Second.
Second by the mayor. Any discussion or question on this motion, please? Our public may look at this as spending $100,000 on this. It's $100,000-ish well spent, as it would be many, many times this if we would actually have to go in and dig and replace these lines. This is an excellent newer technology that's available, and really we get a tremendous amount of bang for our buck for it. So my congratulations to city staff, the city engineer, for keeping this moving and keeping our wastewater moving in a good direction.
Mr. President, I just add to that too that kudos to Mr. Berger and his staff. This is the final section. If you remember, we talked about Mini System 6, which is one of the subdivisions within our sewer treatment system. This is the final leg of the rehabilitation of the larger transmission lines in that area. So several years committed to this project. We have rehabilitated that area, and we'll move on to the next area of improvement. So kudos to them for their due diligence, and to council for continuing to fund these important projects.
Outstanding. Thank you. Anything else, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next this evening, staff recommends City Council approve as an emergency an ordinance amending Xenia Codified Ordinance Chapter 208, Contracts and Purchasing, which would authorize the city to participate in the National Intergovernmental Purchasing Alliance and the Cooperative Purchasing Network purchasing programs. These programs are similar to other cooperative purchasing programs we participate in, and they are tools to attain optimal pricing quotations for such items as vehicles and equipment. There is no cost associated with membership. Participation in these programs will afford the city a more advantageous position for the purchase of office furniture for the facilities projects, in establishing this cooperative relationship, any future needs could also be purchased via the authorized agent in an effort to obtain the best pricing available. This action item is requested as an emergency to facilitate any and all evaluation, selection, and ordering and delivery lead time necessary to complete this portion of the project.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please, as an emergency to authorize the city's participation?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Wallace as an emergency. Second, please.
Second.
Second by Councilman Lauterbach. Any discussion or question on this motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next this evening, staff recommends two actions which would facilitate acquisition of necessary furnishings associated with the facilities improvement projects. Staff is first recommending the transfer of $100,000 from line 365-1009-555999 to account line 365-1018-555999 to delineate funding to the necessary sources for furniture acquisition. Second, staff recommends an emergency ordinance to waive competitive bidding and authorize a contract with APG Office Furniture to purchase office furniture for the facilities project at a cost not to exceed $280,889.77. The original budget projection for furnishes was $425,000. After extensive evaluation and to get the best value possible for this project, staff believes utilizing the services of APG to be in the city's best interest. APG is an authorized agent with NIPA and TCPN purchasing cooperatives, allowing us to get direct from manufacturer pricing, thereby saving considerable resources. APG has provided in-kind services to us and architecture as we have evaluated furniture needs and purchasing options for this project and therefore has extensive knowledge of the project. APG also has had extensive experience in large institutional furniture purchase needs. APG's commission is built into the not-to-exceed total, and so no additional service expenses are necessary. Staff recommends approval of the fund transfer, the emergency ordinance to waive the bidding, and authorization to contract with APG tonight in order to meet a rigid time constraint for the project.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion first, please, for the authorization of transfer of $100,000 from the accounts as stated?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Mays, seconded by Councilman Lauterbach. Any discussion or question on this first motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And now a motion, please, as an emergency to authorize execution of a contract with APG Office Furniture.
So moved.
Second.
Getting it out so quickly, I can't even get in between. Moved by Councilwoman Mills, seconded by Councilman Wallace. Everyone wants to go to the, watch the convention this evening. Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
For the final schedule item this evening, staff is requesting two actions to allow a payment for insurance services under a prior plan deductible. The requested actions include approval of a resolution as an emergency to authorize the payment in excess of the amount allowable on a then and now statement to Highland Administrative Services in the amount of $3,688.42 and authorize the finance director to disperse the funds. As detailed in your agenda report this evening, the invoiced amount is an eligible expense for legal defense under our prior liability coverage with Highland Insurance. This relates to an attempted claim against the city from a 2011 Police Division incident. Highland attempted for several years to contact the city through inactive email accounts, and only recently did the city manager's office become aware of the payment request. It is appropriate that the city would make payment for these services rendered under the terms and conditions of our prior insurance brokerage agreement. Staff does recommend the emergency resolution to expedite the payment.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion, but once it's seconded, I'd like to have a comment as well.
So we have a motion and a second from Councilman Wallace.
I just
Lauterbach.
when I read the comments on that, I was wondering why, in the name of God, when Mr. Percival left and he was replaced, why his emails weren't forwarded to the new city manager so that they didn't get hit in the trash and not,
They actually were, Councilman, but if you look at the timeline on this, there was an extended period from when they first made contact with Ms. Fackler and the secretary of the city manager to the point that there was a gap then Mr. Percival left, and so there was a period of time where for reasons unbeknownst to us, they didn't contact us. So the email accounts then fell into inactive status when they tried to re-engage us and sent additional emails. And I'll be honest with you, part of me wants to say, look, it's on you folks, but under the terms of the contract, we would be responsible, and it seems appropriate to pay it. But I would concur that it's an awful long delay.
Well, and I wondered too, why would they go do email? I mean, just send a letter.
send a bill, right?
Or pick up the phone.
Exactly.
Right.
That doesn't change.
Okay. We owe it, so we'll need to pay it.
Any other comments or questions, please?
What would happen if this was voted down?
I don't know, they may send us to collections, they may seek payment.
Our city law director is
Law
about to
director.
fall off his chair.
You don't want to answer that? we have a motion to pay
I would
it.
imagine they'd probably send it through collections or whatever service they use to collect any deductibles that remain outstanding. I don't know if it would affect the city's credit, but it makes sense to go with staff's recommendation.
I think in support of the good name of the city, it makes sense to.
Any other comments or questions, please? I'm almost afraid to ask. Roll call, please.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion's
We
carried.
are nice people.
And now importantly, a motion please to authorize the finance director to disperse the funds.
Oh, now we can vote down, right?
So moved.
Councilwoman Mills, we're
Second.
out of control here. Seconded by Councilman Wallace. Any discussion or question on this motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Let me think about it.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I have one additional item to introduce this evening.
Thank you.
And the late addition to the agenda is due to events that occurred earlier this week and this evening. Staff is recommending that council approve a motion to accept a contract as discussed this evening with council with our partners from the AFSCME Maintenance Division. I'm very, very pleased to report that after an additional engagement this week by both negotiating teams that we were able to come to a tentative agreement with terms amenable to both parties. The bargaining unit has unanimously, from what I'm told, voted in favor of ratification of the contract. The terms and conditions are within the parameters that council had established. I'd just like to say also, this has been a long road on this, at times a difficult road. I'm so very, very proud of both bargaining teams and the work that they've done to come to an amenable resolution to this contract and allow us to all to move forward together. This group of employees doesn't get a lot of recognition, adulation. They don't get the accolades that firefighters get. They don't get the pats on the back that police officers get. But I would posit to you that on a consistent basis, they face every bit as much danger, just very different kinds of danger. But for our general public, every time they turn on their faucet to wipe their child's hands, every time they flush the toilet, every time they drive down the street, stop at a stoplight, when they go to the parks and the parks are clean and safe, they can thank this group of employees. They do outstanding work. Our utility systems, our transportation systems, all of our public service systems are exceptional, and we're very proud of the work they do. So again, thanks to Mr. Berger, Mr. Duke, Jackie Potter, our HR director, and their efforts. Jason as well serving on the team. So again, without further ado, staff would recommend council make a motion and approve the contract this evening.
May I have a motion, please, to approve the AFSCME council contract?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Mills and seconded by Councilman Wallace. Any discussion or question on the motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Finally, this evening, Mr. President, Council, just two reminders. Our August 1st Fridays is August 5th. We encourage folks to come downtown, call your friends and neighbors from other communities, bring them downtown as well. An outstanding event that continues to grow, not only in the scope, but in the popularity. So come out and join the fun and festivities. Then again, a reminder that our next Neighborhood Night Out event will be August 9th from 5 to 7 p.m. at Old East High School. We encourage council members to stop into that event, meet and greet the folks that are there. We'll have our staff, including fire, police, and our administrative team there to talk about services and to do outreach to the community. Have additional partners from Xenia Community Schools, Green Memorial Hospital, and Lee's not here. I think Central State University might be there as well. So again, encourage folks to come out to that event over in the East End area. That's all I have this evening.
I'm sorry, where did you say it was again?
Old East High School, the grounds
High
at Old
School.
East.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything for our city manager?
I know I'm thinking ahead a little bit. The fireworks next year. What date is that? I mean, is it going to be coordinated with First Fridays, or has that been decided, or is that still up in the air?
We have scheduled for next week a sort of our official debrief meeting with our volunteer coordinator partners, and that will be one of the priority questions to be answered. We've had a lot of discussion as a staff about it, and I think the direction that we are recommending and hoping to get their concurrence is that we continue to coordinate the event in conjunction with First Fridays. And so that, that means next year, unfortunately, the event will be a little more detached from the 4th of July, as it would fall on the 7th. However, from the city's perspective, it is much easier for us to be able to coordinate one event of that scale within a week rather than two separate events, and much cheaper. And we also feel that the events are much, much stronger together than they would be apart. So that's the direction we're leading.
Yeah, I concur with that. Thank
And
you.
it only falls like that this time and then not for a year.
It'll get better and better each year until they sync up on the 4th on a Friday, and then we'll go through that cycle every 7 years. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else for the city manager, please? Seeing none, Mr. Acting Finance Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. We just have two items for you today. The first would be regarding the bid for audiovisual equipment. We have our systems administrator here from the IT department to talk about that if you have any questions. But the recommendations are for you to reject the sole bid for the production audiovisual systems due to it being slightly over budget, as well as our IT department feeling that we can negotiate with the company for a cheaper products. After they saw what was included in their bid, they felt we could downsize some of the items for that. So the second action would be to authorize IT department to enter into negotiations with Industrial Communication and Sound, ICS, for the production audiovisual systems.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion first, please?
So move.
Didn't even get it out this time. Councilman Wallace, second, please. Second by Councilman Lauterbach. Discussion or question on the motion, please?
I just want to say I appreciate your due diligence in trying to get the city the best deal.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And now a motion to authorize the IT department to negotiate with Industrial Communication and Sound.
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Mays. Second, please.
Second.
Second by Councilwoman Mills. Discussion or question on this motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
And the other item would be for us to pay our bills in the amount of $800,658.49.
Thank you very much. Motion to pay our bills this evening, please.
So moved.
Moved by the mayor, second please.
Second.
Second by Councilman Wallace. Discussion or question on our bills, please.
Need to be paid.
Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Anything for our acting finance director this evening, please?
I have one. I don't know if this is yours to handle, but bulk item pickup, is that posted on the website when Rumpke's doing bulk item pickup?
It'll be the second week of the month. And
Like
so
a full
on your-
week or?
Yeah,
like-
associated with your collection day. So if your Tuesday, for example, that would be your bulk pickup day as part of your normal trash day. And I think that's posted on the website, and we put it out there in multiple cities. And I will add, I'll be honest, the last thing I want to talk about is trash, because we've had a lot of calls, and we continue to work through service issues. Staff met, Ryan convened, the assistant city manager convened a meeting this week of staff to talk about the remaining issues, set some very clear directives for public service and other departments to make sure that we're providing a good customer service, getting the cart situation worked out. And he is scheduling a meeting with Rumpke to iron out some additional details in terms of the collection service. So there are some folks that are still not satisfied with good reason. There are some problems that need to be worked through. You have our commitment that we're working to resolve those issues. Again, on the whole, we're talking a 90-some% satisfaction rate. You know, we're not getting 1,000 calls a day, despite the fact that we have 1,500 customers picked up every day. It's really more like 10, 20 calls a day of various issues. So again, on the whole, we've done very well implementing this project, but it still has some things to iron out. So.
Thank you. Anything else, please? Seeing none, Mr. Law Director.
Thank you. We have no ordinances or resolutions being introduced tonight. We do have 2 second readings. The first one is an ordinance rezoning .31 acre portion of 1334 North Detroit Street from R-1C1 Family Residential District to PUD Plan Unit Development, and thereby adding said .318 acre tract to a plan unit development authorized by Ordinance 86-32, which was originally introduced by Councilman Lauterbach.
So moved as written.
Thank you.
Second.
And seconded by Councilman Wallace. Any discussion or question on this motion, please?
Does Chelsea Clinton talk some Kenny?
Trying to get out of here. Trying to get out of here.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
The second reading of the second ordinance, second reading tonight, is an ordinance amending Part 2, Administrative Code, Title 6, Administration, Chapter 260, Employees Generally, Section 260.03, Pay Sources of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Xenia to amend pay sources for the Assistant Engineer position, which was originally introduced by Councilwoman Mills.
So moved.
And a second? Second by the mayor. Any discussion or question on this motion, please? Seeing none, roll call.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayless.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Anything for our law director this evening, please? Seeing none, reading of communications and discussion. Anything to bring to the table from Councilwoman Mays?
I have nothing this evening.
Councilman Wallace?
I have nothing this evening. I appreciate your excusing me last week 2 weeks ago, when I was feeling very, very badly, and feel better tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Glad you're back and feeling well. Councilman Lauterbach?
Thank you. I'll talk fast. I want to congratulate my wife, who's been inducted into the Xenia Area Community Theater Hall of Fame. So, very, very proud.
Give her our congratulations by all means.
Councilwoman Mills?
I have nothing.
Mayor?
Should I say I went nowhere and did nothing?
Or you could speak very slowly and enunciate everything.
I do want to highlight a few things. First of all, the Bridges of Hope had their breakfast held at the old Simon Kenton building and explained to new people their objectives and goals there. And then I went to the Huntington Disease Walk at Shawnee Park, and I'm real thankful the city manager and his entire family participated. And Huntington disease is a fatal genetic disorder that causes a progressive breakdown of nerve cells in the brain. It deteriorates a person's physical and mental abilities during their prime working years and has no cure. As I listened, it seemed like a combination of Lou Gehrig's disease, Parkinson's, and Alzheimer's. But every child of a parent with HD has a 50-50 chance of carrying this faulty gene. There are approximately 30,000 symptomatic Americans and more than 200,000 at risk of inheriting the disease. We currently have one member of our staff whose wife carries that gene. So it was a very worthwhile cause. And then Music in the Park was held. The Voices of Truth provided a very spiritual evening at the park. They're an excellent group made up mostly of family members who are graduates of the Xenia schools, and President Engel and his family were also in attendance there. And then finally, I want to congratulate Dr. Ed Wingard. Many of you will know him in the community. He's a great man and a businessman, and he was celebrating, it was a surprise 80th birthday party, while his family also established a scholarship in his name. He is a retired, he was an excellent basketball player in high school as well as college. He was a professor and dean to the College of Education at Central State University, and he supplied employment opportunities for individuals in our community through his business. But he's a great man, and it was a great turnout, and they had 2 tables of his former college basketball team members who came to show their appreciation and thankfulness. And then we already talked about the travel to Toledo yesterday. And then the only other thing is, don't forget our farmers market. I don't think we've spoken about that. They're still held on Tuesdays. I believe it's 2 o'clock. Is it to 5?
It was 6.
Maybe it's 6. Okay. So don't forget that. And
Located at
down in front of the old,
Town.
soon to be gone Kmart building.
Okay.
At Town Square. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President.
Mr. President, I'd just like to thank city staff for all the work they are doing, a lot of robust projects in the works, and appreciate your leadership. Really proud of our city. Thank you very much. That's all I have tonight.
I'd echo those same comments. We have seen just outstanding work by our police, fire, our public works employees, our staff. Many things are coming together in this community, and many things are on the docket that we were talking about beforehand, before coming on the air this evening. I can say in all the years I've lived in Xenia that I have never seen this much positive development happening, what would appear to be all at one time, as ever. And I've been here 28 plus years now. I think we're just on an excellent trajectory, and I salute all the people that are working very hard on your behalf, City of Xenia's behalf, to make this happen. So my
Mr.
hats
President,
off.
if I may, I think we
Please.
should always preface this with a very slim staff, because we are
Yes.
minimum levels and doing an outstanding job with the small amount of staff we actually have.
Excellent point, Mayor. We've talked ad infinitum, very privately in our sessions and then publicly in our televised sessions about how we are attempting to squeeze every last bit out of a dollar, these combined purchasing programs, these slip lining of things as opposed to replacing our police department and fire department, although not wanting to go down in staff, but going down in some staff as positions are naturally vacated, so that we can stay very close to in budget and not have to go back to the voters. I couldn't agree more with you that they are doing everything that they can very positively, that shows for the city of Xenia, and behind the scenes that does not show, but that keeps everything running along the track towards, I believe, again, a very positive trajectory for the city. So that is all I have this evening. It's a warm summer. It's very dry. Please watch out for your neighbors and such, as there have been heat issues everywhere. Not here yet, but please keep your eye out for your neighbors and keep everyone safe. With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Vice President Smith.
Aye.
Councilman Wallace.
Aye.
Councilman Lauterbach.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mays.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mills.
Aye.
Mayor Bayles.
Aye.
President Engel.
Aye. Thank you.